Hey, Sherry. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, TG. Let's see here. Let's bring this over just a bit more. Is that right? Okay. Oops. Gotta get this right here. There we go. Right on. Should be fine. The only Florida J. All right. All right. Father God, we pray for this broadcast. We pray that it will be a positive broadcast and that it will, we come to celebrate and to rejoice in the work that you have done through the bringing together of many of us via social media and other means. We thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, how is everyone doing? Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Pastor Charles Williams, and I'm the founder and the creator. Okay, I'm the founder and the creator of the concept known and used all over the world today as the Amber Alert here in the United States of America, Amber Alert EU throughout all of Europe, and the Child Rescue Alert in other parts of the world. And this is an update. We have an update. As many of you know, last week, both on all of our platforms, on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, IGTV, all of it. We came together last week and we asked you all to help us to find 3 Ohio children. The initial report, these children have been missing since Monday. We issued the alert, I think about Tuesday or Wednesday. And these children have been missing, or rather, these children have been missing for several days. That was until late last night. Okay. The Licking County Sheriff's Department had listed these children as runaways. Okay, they were only 12 years old, 13 years old, and 14 years of age. I shared with you all then that this just did not fit the mold of a runaway. I worked runaway cases. We've worked dozens of those cases, okay, down through the years. And for a 12, 13, and 14-year-old to go missing and local law enforcement just wants to write them off as a runaway, I wasn't having it. I respected their right to list them as a runaway, but I said, listen, just in case, okay, and I had a meeting with them. I said, listen, just in case they're not runaways, okay, I'm going to issue a courtesy alert because I don't believe that children that age were running away. Just didn't believe it. And some people called me out on it, you know, about it, but you know, hey, it's okay. It's okay. And we heard from the family, and I want to thank all of y'all who follow us on all of our social media platforms. We put this broadcast together and ask you all to share it. And the numbers that we looked at, I mean, more than 10,000 people, okay? More than 10,000 of all of you came together and shared the broadcast, viewed the broadcast, and shared the broadcast on multiple platforms. 10,000 of you on just Facebook alone, okay? Not counting the numbers on Periscope and YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and all of that. Well, we were right. We were right. Early this morning, we got the information that late last night, late yesterday afternoon, the children were found, and they all have been found safe. Were they runaways? No, no. They were lured, in our view, they were lured away. They were lured away, okay, by someone or some adults. I know that this case did not fit a typical runaway person because of the age of the children, for one. And the fact that there were three children all at one time. Just so many things didn't add up about that. But nevertheless, police, they did what they needed to do per their protocol. We did what we needed to do per our protocol. And the report states that, and I'm going to read it here in just a little bit. The report states that the children were found in another county. They went missing out of Licking County, but the children were found in Franklin County. That's here in Columbus. They were found in Franklin County, Ohio, okay? Not too far from our studios. They were found probably about 7 or 8 miles from where I'm sitting right now, okay? How did they get over here from over there? Certainly not on foot. Not a 12, 13, and 14-year-old, not on foot. I said all along, go back and look at the broadcast. These kids had to have the help of an adult who lured them away. Okay? And that's, in our view, that's exactly what happened. I'm going to read the report. Let me pull up the report here, and then we'll comment on it in just a little bit. Let's see here. Okay, here's the official release from the Licking County Sheriff's Department. It said missing children have been found. On August 31st, at approximately 8:45 p.m. last night, detectives with the Licking County Sheriff's Office located the missing juveniles. Okay. I apologize. My my sound here is getting a, there we go. Okay, so at 8:45 on last evening, detectives with the Licking County Sheriff's Office located the missing juveniles at a residence on Wilson Avenue near Broad Street, near Wilson and Broad, here in Columbus, Ohio. That's a long way from where they went missing from. The juveniles stated, get this, the juveniles stated, the kids missing stated that they had not eaten for a while and that they were very, not just hungry, but that they were very hungry. They hadn't eaten for a while and that they were very hungry. After detectives ordered them some pizza, they would then return to their guardians, the parents. Detectives will review, get this now, here's what I want you to hear. Detectives will review the case with prosecutors to determine if any charges will be filed on individuals, more than one, on individuals who may have assisted in hiding these children. The last words, in hiding these children. I knew all along. Listen, I am the Amber Alert founder, okay? And something inside of me, when something is not right, you know, I'm going to let y'all know that, look, this did not meet a certain criteria, or this does not fit or does not work or whatever. If these children had been runaway, okay, if these children had been runaways, you don't have to review for possible charges, okay? So they didn't know, no. So they didn't know people. They didn't know the people that had them. No. Okay? And the fact that these kids, I mentioned in the broadcast, I said, what are these kids eating? How are these kids eating? I mean, change of clothes and so forth. I mean, these kids, they've been missing since Monday, y'all, and they were finally found Saturday night. Okay, so that's the let me pull. Let's see here. I got something else I want to share with you. Yeah, we're talking about 12-year-old. Here are the kids right here: 12-year-old Miranda, 13-year-old Emily, and 14-year-old David. Okay. Okay, here they are right here. Okay, so these kids, they went missing Monday afternoon. Don't know why, don't know the situation or the circumstance. But I mentioned yesterday that I felt that these kids had been lured away. Okay, and it sure seems that they have been lured away. And not only were they lured away, it says that the detectives believe that charges should be brought against the ones who were intentionally hiding these children. Okay? These children were intentionally being hid. That's why it's important when we issue these alerts, okay? When we issue these alerts and you hear about these alerts, take nothing for granted, because there are people out here who will hide a child. They'll steal a child and they will hide them. In spite of the 10,000 views and shares of our broadcast and other local media outlets, the local media kind of took a standoffish approach, because here's what happens when law enforcement says we believe that a child is a runaway. Immediately people become disinterested. The media begins to back off of it, and unless there's a child safety advocate like myself or others who do this, word about them missing is going to trickle out very, very slowly. But because we were adamant that this case was not a runaway case, out of Licking County, Texas. Yeah, Mike, it was not, hey, Teresa, it was not a runaway case out of Licking County. And the good news is that all three of these children, 14-year-old David Prater, 12-year-old Miranda Prater, and 13-year-old Emily Blake, they were found. And according to the investigators, they were found, they were very hungry, they said. The children were very hungry. The detectives who found them ordered pizza for them, and gave them a nice helping of pizza before the children were returned back to their family. So we ask that you all would continue to pray for this family as to whatever was going on, or whatever the situation may be. Now the question becomes, charges. And authorities will start looking at this starting tomorrow. Should charges be brought against the individuals? And it said it was more than one. Should charges be brought against the individuals who were purposefully and intentionally hiding these children? Absolutely. Absolutely, charges should be brought. I shared on the broadcast, and I put it out there, that when a person is trying to on purposefully hiding a child who is being sought by law enforcement, I spoke with an FBI agent on this matter, and they said that that person could be charged. That person could be charged and get up to 7 years, okay, for obstructing an investigation, purposefully hiding, knowingly and willingly hiding a child that is being sought for by law enforcement. Yes, you can get up to 7 years. In this case, I really do hope that the Licking County prosecutor will look at bringing charges against the individuals, and it said again, more than one, that it would bring charges against the individuals responsible for the disappearance and the hiding of these babies. Okay. What do I think the charges should be? Well, hey, if you can get up to 7 years for one, then each adult individual that is responsible for the disappearance of these children, whether they were lured away or however, but they knew these children were being sought and they continued to hide them for days. And then the last few days, last day, they didn't feed them because the kids said that they were very hungry. I mean, these are kids, y'all. I mean, when were they going to feed again? We don't know any of that. But here's what I do know. For every child, and it was 3 of them, for every child, for each child, I hope that the Licking County prosecutor will pursue a 7-year conviction. Okay? I hope that they will pursue a 7-year conviction for each child. Okay? For each child. That means that the individuals responsible for taking these children, the individuals responsible, could get as much as 21 years for what they did. 21 years. Why? Because they took a kid. They took 3 children, not one child, not 2 children. They took 3 children and they held them for the better part of a week. They continued to hide them for the better part of a week. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Also, they should be brought up on charges of human trafficking. Okay? Because I'm sure these children did not walk from Licking County to way over here on the far east side of Franklin County on their own. These children were brought over here in a vehicle of somebody. And depending upon whom that person was, what their role was in the disappearance of these children, not only should they be looking at a maximum of 21 years for hiding these children, but they should also be looking at additional charges of human trafficking of human trafficking of a minor. Let that sink in your pipe. The human trafficking of 3 minors, human trafficking of 2 minor girls, and the human trafficking of a minor male. They should all. Licking County, they have to prosecute. They have to prosecute the people who are responsible for these babies' disappearance. Why is that important? It's important because, it's important because, number one, law enforcement has to send a message. Law enforcement has to send a message to the community that, hiding a child, taking and hiding a child is a very serious, has very serious consequences. That's one. But again, I just believe that the Licking County law enforcement, Licking County prosecutor should look at bringing charges against those, again, who were purposefully and willfully hiding these children from law enforcement. They hid them so to the point. That when they were found, the children were basically malnourished. According to the children. The children said, and I quote, "We are very hungry." When a 12, 13, and 14-year-old says that they are very hungry, means that they hadn't eaten in a while. I'll be right back. You're watching the Amber News Network. Okay. So that is the update out of Licking County, Ohio, for these 3 children. And we're just thankful and we're grateful to God that these children were found and that they were found safe. Now, we have another alert that is still currently in progress out of Pennsylvania. Okay, out of Pennsylvania for this other little 2-year-old. This is a different case out of Pennsylvania. Let's see here. Let's bring her up here. Here we go. And here we go. This little child right here, little Melania Johnson out of Pennsylvania, okay, is still missing. Okay. She is still missing out of Pennsylvania. That case is still ongoing, and we do not have a resolution in that one yet. But again, going back to Ohio, because this is really good news, and raises the point. Oftentimes, and our child safety advocates will agree all across the country, oftentimes authorities are very, very quick to say that a child is, oh, well, he or she is a runaway. What criteria do they go by announcing that a child is a runaway? What criteria? I mean, just because the child is 15 or 16? I mean, what criteria are they, basing that off of? What criteria are they using to announce that a child is a runaway. Be interesting to find out all across the country. Hey, Tin Man, thanks for watching. But again, the good news is that these children, hey, Ardasic, these children out of Ohio that we have been looking for the most of last week. I want to thank all of you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules. I know I posted a lot, and some of you probably got the post 2 or 3 times. Okay, I want to thank you for taking the time to share. Hey, C. Flores, I want to thank you for taking the time. My wife will get me for doing that. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to share the broadcast. Just 1 second. We have something going on here. You see here? Let's see what's happening. Oh, there we go. Okay, just 1 moment. Okay, and I think we can get that right there. Okay, I believe that's the first time that's happened. We'll have to check that out. Okay, but again, I want to, as I was stating, I want to say thanks to all of you for your trust in us. We raise the voice. We are the voice for the children. Okay, for children who are announced as runaways. Okay, but we find out, I personally, I review every case that comes my way. I review every case. I make sure that law enforcement is doing their due diligence. If they're not, I'm going to call them and I'm going to ask why aren't y'all doing this? Or if you did this, is there a reason why you're not doing this or whatever? I will have that hard conversation with law enforcement communities across this nation as it relates to our children, because one of the most heart-wrenching things, and I saw this family, one of the most heart-wrenching things, and I heard from this family this week. One of the most heart-wrenching things is when a child goes missing. When a child goes missing, that law enforcement just says, "Oh well, we can't do anything. There's he or she is a runaway, and there's just not anything we can do. We just have to wait until they decide to come back home." That is what some law enforcement agencies will tell parents. There's nothing that they can do. They just have to wait until the child decides to come back home on their own. Okay. But when I saw this case, I said, no. These children did not run away. And based on the information from the Licking County Sheriff's Department, they're looking into bringing charges against the individuals. When I see language that they're looking at bringing charges against the individuals who may have assisted in hiding these children, that spells it out right there, that this was not a runaway. It was never a runaway. If anything, then you say, well, then, Pastor, what was it? If it was anything, it was that these children are lured away. There's this big gray box. There's this big gray area between a child being snatched off the street, okay, and then, there's this big gray area between a child being snatched off the street. Well, it's an Amber Alert for that. But what do you do when a child or children are lured away by family members, friends, or people they meet on social media? What do you do when a child is lured away? There's no category for that, okay? And so you can't say, well, they were abducted because we saw them, we saw them walking away. We can't say that they were snatched because no one saw that. So there is this gray area. There's this gray area that is there that I believe these kids fell into. And so it was either they were runaway or nothing. So they said, well, it's either runaway or nothing. We have to call them a runaway. But their case didn't fit a runaway. But we still have to call them a runaway because we can't call them anything else. But these children, from what it appears, these children were lured away on the promise by somebody. They may have walked away from the house, went somewhere, met somebody, came in contact with somebody, whether they knew them or not, and that person then took them babies, put them in a car. There's your human trafficking right there. With the minute they step foot in the car and that wheel began to turn, human trafficking charges kick in right there. And took them from Licking County over to Franklin County. And there in Franklin County, they stayed for several days. Afraid? Sure. I don't know about their afraidness and so forth, but what I do know, according to the reports that we are getting, these children, they were there and they were, according to the children, when they were found and they were very hungry. Okay. Who knows when the last time these babies ate? What were they going to do? I mean, what were they going to do? Were they going to starve them? Were they going to starve them until starve them into submission of something else sinister? Who knows? Who knows? But here's what we do know: that these babies who were once lost, okay, these babies right here that were once lost, trying to get it right for each camera, these children right here who were once lost, they are now found, and they are now back home. So to the father, to the stepmom, to the grandmother, whom I've all heard from, it has been an honor and a privilege to serve you all. Just one second. I'm having an issue with the camera. It was an honor and a privilege to serve you all in this capacity. And I thank you. I want to thank you for your trust. We did what we told you we would do. And to the child safety advocate who brought this to my attention early last week. She felt in her spirit that they were listed as a runaway, and she said it didn't feel right to her. And when I looked at it and investigated it, along with other child safety advocates, it didn't feel right to them either. And to our child safety advocate here in Columbus, Ohio, Kim Mitchell, thank you, Kim. To God be the glory for the end of this story. Again, for those of y'all who are just coming in, we're talking about the courtesy alert that was issued for 3 Ohio children. Okay, for 3 Ohio children on last week. The good news is that they have all now been found. They were all found together. Okay, they were all found together, and authorities right now are trying to decide. I don't think it's a question of if charges should be filed, but what charges will be filed against the adults. I shared in the broadcast, told y'all, shared in the broadcast, felt very strongly this was not a runaway. I respect what the police did, Licking County Sheriff's Department. I respect their opinion, but you know what? And I hope this serves as a template and as a reminder to law enforcement communities across the country. Hey, N. Roberts, I hope this serves as a reminder and a template to law enforcement across the country. Just because Whenever you say someone is a runaway, whenever you say a child is a runaway, um, you need to send another fish upstream as well. Because when you put all of your eggs in one basket by saying a child is a runaway, when that child is found, like these were found, when that child is found and they were not a runaway, it makes you look bad. I get that. But if you also send a second fish upstream that says that just in case the child is not a runaway, we want to issue a courtesy alert. This courtesy alert that was issued really gave hope to this family. This courtesy alert that went out on behalf of these children really did make a huge difference. As I stated before, more than 10,000 people on Facebook alone, not counting the numbers on Periscope and Twitter and Instagram and IGTV and other forms of social media, viewed this story. And we have a good resolution to this case. God bless. I want to thank all of y'all for taking the time to join us on today, despite my camera issues for whatever reason today. Okay. Despite everything else that's going on in the world, you took the time. Okay. You took the time to come by and to share. And if you shared the broadcast, all of y'all on Periscope, thank you for sharing the broadcast. On Facebook, thank you for sharing the broadcast. On IGTV and Instagram, thank you for sharing this broadcast and the previous broadcast about these children. So with that, we close this broadcast with the word of prayer. Father God, we just come before you this afternoon now. We thank you, God, for this wonderful, wonderful resolution in this case. We thank you, dear God, for David, Miranda, and Emily. We thank you that they are now safe, again, back in their safe place. Father, I pray that you would bring those responsible to justice. They know what they did. They know they were trying to hide these children, but they were found. I thank you, God, that they were found safe, and we just thank you. We thank you for what it is you have done. And that brings this courtesy alert to a close. That's going to put a wrap on this particular alert. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm going to have to fix that. Okay, oops. Just one moment. That's going to put a wrap on this particular alert as again, okay, as again, the update in this case is that these children were found. They were found safe. Okay. They were found safe. They were hungry, a little confused, but they were glad that we didn't stop looking for them. Have a good day, everybody. We'll talk to you next time right here from the Amber News Network.